Good afternoon, everyone. We're so happy to be here. My name is Danielle Duboc-Whitman, Executive Director of FCC USA, Fútbol con Corazón, and we're here in Miami Community Newspaper Studio, which by the amazing Miller brothers, Grant and Michael. Shout out to them
Yes.
for them, giving us this space, and for the amazing guests today. We have a incredible guest because in honor of Women's Month, we're highlighting incredible women who have, done so much for the community, represented, and bringing all these youth to thrive, helping in the education system. So today we have the amazing Luisa Santos, school board member, District 9.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It is such an honor to be invited and to be a guest on this awesome, show that you're doing now. It's always so great to see you in all of your chapters, Danielle. I feel like I got the pleasure to meet you, even before I was a school board member. And so to get to now chat more than a couple years later.
Yeah, time is flying.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for coming here. I'm gonna call you Lisa just to keep it warm.
Yes, no, absolutely.
So I'll share a little bit. This is so cool to have you at the FCC podcast. Our title is Put Your Heart Into It, and every guest that comes here, whatever department, silo, area they work on, the common thread is they put their heart into everything they do. And I just want to share a story how I met Luisa. So I was at Brewing Buddha, a little coffee shop at Pinecrest. Shout out, because they have the best charcoal coffee ever. And it's the best. And so I was there at a meeting, and I was getting out of there, like literally getting out. And I remember Luisa comes up to me and she says, "Hi, how are you? My name is Luisa Santos. I'm running for school board member for District 9." And I'm like, oh my God. Like she's so confident, like she's so amazing to come, and I was like, "Hi, how are you?" And she gave me a card. She's like, you could tell the passion. I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. And then I didn't know you were Colombian or anything.
Yeah, I know.
So I was like, okay. Then afterwards we met. You share your story. You share about, I'm Colombian, and your whole story, which is incredible. And I remember from that day on, even our founder met you, and he was like, that woman is brilliant. That woman is incredible. And then months later, you get elected, which was kind of like a historic win, I think, in your district. And you had, other people that had been doing incredible work in District 9. But what you've created is a movement, and bringing youth to participate, be active, and how, leveraging resources for the schools, for the teachers. We know that District 9 is under resources. So I wanted you to share a little bit about that journey, how you get started, that fire inside, etc.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Well, I think that fire started early on because, as you mentioned, we definitely are very both proud to be Colombian. And I was born in Colombia. I came when I was 8 years old, and our schools, our public schools, were able to turn me, that 8-year-old English language learner, I was undocumented, into a proud job-creating entrepreneur and now public servant. And that fire inside for running for school board really came from the fact that I know the potential that education has to change lives, and so many of us in this community do. Sometimes as immigrants, we pin all our hopes and dreams on education, and frankly, it works for a lot of people. Education is still the number one driver of being able to move generation from generation and progress forward. And so, having that opportunity to really achieve my American dream is what fuels me to say, how can I make that possible for everyone coming behind me, or at least as many people as possible?
Beautiful. I wanna go back to, there was an image in my mind when you shared your story the first time. Walk us through the story where I think you were applying to certain colleges, but you didn't know about the whole. Like it was like kind of like a moment that you weren't even not aware of the certain limitations you had, but how you felt. Can you let us know how you felt? Who was your support system at that time? How did you find the courage to say, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to look for other routes, but I'm going to get my degree, or I'm going to get educated, etc.?
Yeah, so you're right. I did not realize I was undocumented because, to our school's credit,
Mm.
it didn't matter that I was undocumented.
Okay.
My teachers were focused, and they just saw every child's potential, regardless of circumstance, and they just made sure I worked really hard and had big dreams.
Yeah.
That's what they cared about. But when I was applying, I was going to start a sort of mentoring and tutoring
Wow.
program
Mhm.
with a fellow student, and we were in high school. And
Wait, I'm sorry. What elementary, middle, and high school you went?
of course, I am a proud elementary graduate of Perrine Elementary,
Okay.
Southwood Middle School,
Oh, wow.
and Coral Reef Senior High
Nice,
School.
nice.
So, all amazing schools that I now have the honor to represent on the school board and proudly
Amazing.
do so. Um, and so I needed to become a registered volunteer with the district. That's
Hmm.
what I had to do. And they have a form, and the top right hand corner ask for your social security number. And so I asked my mom, hey, what's my social security number? And there was the moment where, like, she had to share,
Hmm.
hey, you don't have one. And very quickly, that was, middle of high school, it became evident through many other different things that were almost rites of passage in high school that I started to realize were just out of reach for me. So a lot of my friends started getting their driver's licenses, which is
Wow.
such an exciting time for high school. But I had the realization that I actually just could not get a driver's license. I also was being offered jobs. In high school, everyone wants to start working, earning some cash. And I was actually offered a job and then realized, oh, I actually can't work legally. I can't take that job. And so I had to turn down a company that had offered me a job.
Wow.
And of course, the most daunting for me, frankly, was applying to college and university, because I worked really hard and our teachers did the right thing in making me believe that I could go to whatever incredible university I wanted in this country. And my grades and my involvement and my profile certainly made me a competitive candidate.
Mm.
But most colleges and universities view undocumented students as international students for the application process. And as an international student, you must prove with your bank account statements
Oh.
that you can pay full tuition. And that simply was out of the realm of possibility. My mom, when we came here, was cleaning up to 3 homes a day to make ends meet. And
Wow.
so we really, that moment, I think, was most daunting for me. This was before in-state tuition was a possibility for students in the state of Florida, which it was for about the last 10 years until, unfortunately, about a couple weeks ago, that was again repealed. And so students are kind of back where I was
Right.
in that moment of
Right.
saying, I know no other country than this country. And I've worked really hard to earn those grades. And I'm
You're in
graduating a
this limbo.
Florida school, and I'm going to have to pay out of state tuition, which is frankly what I ended up doing. I'm so grateful
Mm.
I had the opportunity to attend Miami-Dade College,
Wow.
but I did have to pay out of state tuition. I was paying thousands and thousands of dollars more than my
Any-
peers who we graduated, that graduated together with me. And so that was really challenging, but I remember, for example, and now I look at this with such a different lens of perspective and context. But for example, I participated in dance team at Southwood. It's a national
I didn't know
award
you had that
winning.
time.
Yes, I'm very proud. We won a national championship, and they continue to win national
Oh my
championships.
gosh.
But it was a very expensive activity to be a part of.
Mm.
And as I mentioned, we didn't have much. And so I had to fundraise for everything from the uniforms to the costumes to the travel, all of it. It just really was so out of reach. And so I would sell all kinds of things. I did every fundraiser. And I would watch my mom, who would sell flowers for the recitals, and we would get people to buy ads in our dance book.
Yeah.
And seeing her never waver on the fact that we're going to figure this out. And that was just one example of so many. But every step of the way, when adversity came, and she has faced much more adversity than
Yes.
even I have, finding that strength to say, like, we'll get out of this too, and we'll find a way
Beautiful.
out, has been beautiful.
Awesome. That's beautiful. Yeah, our mothers are like the champions, right? And they model that for them, and that's like that resilience that we're like, no, we're gonna make it, and like one day at a time, right? So you developed that resilience and that grit early on
Yeah.
in high school, and then of course going to college. When you went to Miami-Dade College, you were just doing what you do. Did you know what you were gonna study, or you're like, let me explore and then find out?
Yeah. Well, I thought I wanted to be a diplomat of
Yeah.
all things, so I started at international relations. And like most students, changed my mind a bunch of times. And once I transferred to Georgetown University after my first 2 years at Miami-Dade, I was leaning into economics. It was intriguing to me, and so I majored in political economics,
Oh, nice.
and minored in education.
Oh, wow. So did you, back then, when you started political education, did you know, or political science, did you know, like, I one day want to be in, represent or a district as a school board member? Did you have that? Did you envision that? Or was it something like I could, you know, what was that?
Yeah, well, actually, not at all. I don't think I knew what school board members were or did, honestly, when I was in school. But I had run for student government
Oh,
at high
it was
school
in
and in
you. It was in
college.
you.
So it definitely was in me. I definitely had a bug early on to say, like, if I can do something to deliver a better experience for
Mm,
others, and I saw student government as one way to do that, then I should. And
beautiful.
so, yeah, a couple of early campaigns before school board.
Awesome. So then, when you're studying, like going back to your aside from your mom, can you mention, um, coaches or mentors who impacted your life? For example, for us at FCC, uh, we view it like human capital is the most important thing, not the talent. Sports is usually based on, in some places in this country, for example, soccer. It's very led by either talent, you have to have an innate talent, or it's based on performance, or if you have wealth, then you might be able to get access to certain things. Our approach to sports is more to kind of open access to have recreational and transformative after school programs using soccer as a tool, as a modality. So for us, our biggest effort is to invest in the coaches, because we know the coaches are the multipliers, are the ones that can interrupt or help interrupt cycles of intergenerational trauma or abuse, or any. So our coaches know that they are investing in these kids in their lives, because they're creating this connection and this relationship along the way, whether it was your dance teacher or whether it's a professor at Georgetown, that math professor, I don't know, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Who are some of the coaches or mentors you remember, aside from your mom, who kind of shaped you in that journey?
Yeah, there are quite a few. I've been very blessed in that world that through our public schools, I had incredible teachers, counselors, even teachers that weren't my official teachers, but staff who really invested in me. I'll share with you my fourth grade teacher, Janet Oliveira, who is now a principal of a school.
She's a principal of what school? I
Yes.
think
Oh,
she
I'm
seems
gonna blank
familiar.
on what school. Yeah. But
I think I know her.
when I was in her class, had only been here maybe 1 or 2 years, but she went out of her way to involve my mom, who always cared deeply and needed, ways to plug in without speaking English and without other ways to support me. She was always there to support me. She just, maybe couldn't do it in the traditional ways. And so Miss Alvera always deeply believed in me. She saw something in me beyond my circumstances, and she consistently made me dream bigger. And this was in fourth grade.
Magic.
And in fifth grade, I remember this because clearly, she had invested so much in me. She gave me a little teddy bear at fifth grade graduation with a card. And to this day, that teddy bear sits in my library as a reminder of what, how powerful it can be when someone believes in you, especially early on.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And yeah, her name sounds familiar. I think she's in the south, where Kendall area. I'm not sure, but
She might be, like,
I
the
think
route
I've
somewhere,
seen,
maybe.
but I know I've seen that name, and that's so beautiful. And I mean, if she sees this, that she must be so proud, right? Like, we don't understand the power that we have, or the power you've already had in your interns, for example.
Yeah.
That they don't. It's a compounding effect, and so you'll see that later on years when they mention you. So going here to the present moment, you're here. This is you've been serving since
20.
2020. Wow,
I know.
5 years
I know.
already. So since you've been serving, can you mention 3 things that you think advanced at that that you've worked on and that you feel like, okay, this we actually move forward and this is better? And then 3 things that might be still that areas of growth or improvement that we can all chime in.
Absolutely. Uh, as an elected official, you have a choice to go at the surface level and go really wide and touch a lot of things, or you have the choice to really focus and go really deep on a couple of issues. And that was my choice. I wanted to make sure that I could focus so that I could say 4 years later, this is different in a measurable way.
Right.
And so for me, that was starting with post-secondary success. Early on, I passed a big framework item, and that has led to a lot of things, including regional college fairs, including tracking. We used to not track our clearinghouse data, which is students' enrollment and persistence through college and university.
Beautiful.
Now that is a conversation with our CAP counselors. We track FAFSA completion rates, so our students can pay for their next steps. And we're very proud to also have launched actual guides with step-by-step instructions for parents, for CAP counselors, and for students to know what they should be doing in 9th, 10th, and 11th.
Yes, because it is kind of intricate. It's complicated.
Daunting. Yeah.
God,
So go to studentservices.dadeschools.net and learn a lot more about that work. Very helpful resources. Secondly, in the realm of closing the digital divide, obviously I came into office a couple of months into COVID when it was very clear that we had to deploy significant technology quickly. And so I introduced a framework around that. We have invested over $62 million in our network infrastructure, which I'm super proud of. And we still have a long way to go, but students' experience in their schools and their connectivity in schools is significantly different today than when I came into office.
Awesome.
We were able to purchase over $70 million of student laptops because we had very old and aging technology. That is true today. And we partnered with Miami Connected to also help families get connected to internet at home. Because of course,
that was a great initiative with the Miami Foundation.
Yeah, Miami Foundation, awesome. And of course, your previous guest, Rebecca Fishman-Lipsey, who's a dear mentor and friend, also did that. And lastly, in sustainability, I led the effort to have a clean energy by 2030 commitment on the school board, which led to the hiring of our sustainability officer. That sustainability officer secured over $50 million in grants for the school district. So huge ROI on that salary. We're super proud of her, which has led to our transitioning dozens of buses to electric school buses, the launch of our energy wealth plan to ensure that, people don't know this, but utilities, energy and water are our highest expense. Next to salaries. Right. We spend over $100 million a year on that, if you could imagine. Yes. So if we even save 5% there, we have a huge impact. And so we're proud of that. There's been a tree canopy MOU signed with the county to make sure that our schools have shade. Very important, especially when we're outside playing soccer, which you know how hot it gets out there. And so those are 3 areas. You asked also about where we have to go from here.
She has it all like
in my second term, those will continue to be focus areas, but we are adding a big emphasis on early childhood education. I think our probably dear shared friend Dave Lawrence has been a champion of this for a long time in our community. The challenges that we face in literacy and English language arts proficiency, they begin early on.
Right.
And the longer that time passes in a child's life, the harder it gets to catch them up. And so we are putting a lot of emphasis on high quality early learning, early literacy, and thinking very creatively about that. So that we can tackle our second huge challenge, which is the fact that student proficiency is nowhere near where it needs to be. We've made significant progress, but we still have a long way to go. We're so proud to be an A district 5 years in a row. But when you look at proficiency, there are still 38% of students who aren't proficient in English and language arts. That means we've got a big gap to close. And I would say the third challenge that
This is district. Are you focusing on not county? You're focusing
I'm
on
talking about the
district
county,
or county-wide or
the
district?
whole
Oh, the
county.
whole county.
Yeah,
So proficiency
absolutely.
in language arts is something that should be worked on. Okay.
Yeah, and it's always been a challenge,
Oh, of
right?
course.
And we've made significant progress. It is just a daunting task,
is.
but our nation is facing it.
Yeah.
You've seen the
Yeah,
NAEP scores.
course.
I mean, we have to get this right if we want to continue to be, the world's leading nation.
Yes, definitely. And that is incredible that you mention it, because we also, we always have to celebrate, the milestones we've, achieved as a community, but also, okay, what can we work on? I remember in Homestead Middle School, we had a group. This was 2 years ago, and it was an amazing group. The kids didn't know, the middle schoolers didn't know any English, and I remember we started. The principal wanted us to have the program done, but for them to start like practicing English. So
Yeah.
we started doing it through our coaches, who were Homestead local coaches, and they would start speaking English with them while they played, so that they would feel safe and that it was fun. And nowadays, 2 of them volunteer in our Homestead Middle School site. They're already in high school, but you see them speaking, and it's great. Now,
English.
I'm not saying that we taught them. We just gave them the safety for them to, because some kids are kinesthetic learners.
Yes.
And sometimes they need to feel safe in order to, and there's different modalities to that, right? So
Absolutely.
I think a lot of teachers, like for example, you mentioned your teacher, Miss Olivera.
Yeah.
I remember having teachers when I was I went to Sunset Senior High for 2 years.
Okay.
No, it was
It was not
it was
great.
not the best. We were overcrowded back then.
Oh
Because
gosh.
Varela didn't, yeah. But I have to say, I had amazing teacher, Miss Berkowitz, who was my algebra teacher. She was incredible. And I remember having teachers. I had great teachers along the way, but there were some teachers that we had kids that would just like did not master English, and you would see these teachers dedicated and with patience and like making sure that the students would thrive. Now, what you're focusing on is prevention, right? Prevention at the end of the day is, how do we catch on early? It's so much better. It's so much easier. So that is amazing that we can know this, as how as educators, coaches, what can we do to raise the bar, right?
Yeah.
Talk to me about, because we haven't mentioned this, but people see, oh, school board member Luisa Santos, but they don't know about the entrepreneurial
My past.
side. The entrepreneurial side. Oh, wait. Let's talk about fun facts. Okay, so first of all, Luisa Santos, sorry guys, she's married already. So so she's married, she's taken. And it was recently, like a year ago.
Yeah.
2 years.
We are in February, so a year and 2 months ago.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we're very happy.
And so Lulu's ice cream, your entrepreneurial, like how did that happen? I want you to. This is amazing. And the reason I'm passionate about this is because we have a financial fitness program through FCC where we teach financial literacy through games and coaching, and one of the topics is entrepreneurial spirit, right? And like how to cultivate it. So we want to teach the kids early on. We can all be entrepreneurial.
Yes.
And it's like a muscle you kind of develop, right? And there's a nervous system regulation, because to be an entrepreneur, you need to
tolerate risk.
Oh, regulate those emotions of like uncertainty, right? So I think it's really cool. So can you tell us about your story on Lulu's ice cream?
Yeah, Lulu's. So I love eating ice cream, although fun fact, I don't really enjoy cooking or baking or anything like that, which people are always so surprised by, because of course I had an ice cream company for so many years. But I learned about liquid nitrogen as a way to make ice cream and fell in love with the fact that you could make the cleanest ice cream.
Wait, what year was this?
This was while I was still in college. So this must have been around 2013. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And around the same time, I was blessed to get connected with the Georgetown Entrepreneurship Network. Oh. So they were developing sort of this mindset in students of thinking entrepreneurially, bringing alumni to the campus and professors talking about this. So I just showed up to a couple club meetings, and frankly, my mind was blown. I mean, I've told you a little bit about my background. I had no idea what investors were. I had no idea that you could, that you didn't need your own money, let's say, to start a company, that you could actually have a good enough idea that people would invest in. And so, of course, I as I tend to do when I have a new idea or project, I jumped into the deep end of the pool, and I took office hours. I asked for office hours with chemistry professors
Oh
to
my
teach
God.
me about the properties of nitrogen. And this is hilarious. I put an ad on Craigslist. I was still in college. For a pastry chef for a new ice cream company. And I found one off of Craigslist. She was wonderful.
You're a Virgo. You're a
Entrepreneurial.
person.
I know. Entrepreneurial. And anyway, so I half jokingly entered a rocket pitch competition, which is like a fast business pitch, and won.
Oh
So
my
I had some
God.
cash. And so I said, you know what? We should pilot at the farmer's market. And so we started doing the farmer's market.
Farmer's market here or over there?
No, in DC.
Oh,
Yeah, in
wow.
DC. And then the idea kept rolling. I kept meeting investors. I pitched at other competitions and I won more cash. Then investors were interested. We started having conversations and I secured my first round of investment to launch my
Oh
company.
my God.
And come back home, and we had it, I grew it for 8 years.
Oh my God.
But this is what's been true of the things I've pursued in my life. I've always asked myself, there are two things that have to be true for me to embark on a new journey.
Right.
One, is it the most positive impact I can possibly have in this moment?
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I felt like through my company, I could not only provide clean, delicious ice cream, farm to table concept, but more importantly, I could hire students. And I did. I hired college and high school students, and we trained them on financial literacy.
Oh my God.
They would get paid
Beautiful.
staff hours at staff meetings to get trained on financial literacy and post-secondary success. So I would help them literally. I was their CAP advisor through their job, basically.
Oh
And we
my
have
God.
tons of success stories. And then my second criteria is it building? Am I contributing?
Right.
I've learned about myself that I like to build things. I love starting from scratch, basically, and really tinkering, more so than just maintaining something that's already great and existing. And so for 8 years, I grew Lulu's. We had incredible team members, lots of fun memories, incredible customers. And in 2021, I sold the business.
Oh my God. That is crazy because this is the thing. It's kind of like a dichotomy. We usually, when people are into public service or they're so like they like the stability or they can manage certain challenges, but then that's it. They limit it. They're probably attorneys or something like that, but they won't be entrepreneurs. Like that's very like that's not common at all. And then you have the entrepreneurial, they're not interested in other things that you might be interested in. So you have this amazing kind of scope, right? Of like, yes, I can do public service. Yes, I can do this. I can do that. I can do advocacy, and I can. And then you manage to kind of integrate it all, which is amazing.
Yes, I definitely think we should have more entrepreneurs in public service.
Yes.
Because I could see why entrepreneurs get turned off by the pace of things sometimes in public
Exactly.
service. I certainly do. But the more of this sort of, ability to take calculated risk is important also
Yeah.
in these big systems. Miami-Dade County Public Schools is the third largest school district in the nation. To do anything, it's like I tell people, how fast can you turn the Titanic, right? It's a lot of change management.
Right.
But it will never happen if you don't have people at the top saying like, hey, let's tolerate a little bit of risk and let's think differently. We can't just do things the way they've been done. And I have to say, our superintendent Dodris is so open to those ideas. And I really give him credit for that in saying like, yeah, why not? Like, why not? We don't need to stick to only what we've done. And I think it's serving us well.
Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, we were having that conversation, I think, earlier with the government and legal affairs of the Miami Chamber Committee. We're talking about like how in government there's so much red tape, and it's like you have the business mindset, having this certain pace, and then government is, and how do we make things more efficient? And even in the nonprofit sector, I remember our founder one time he told me, companies, businesses need the heart of a nonprofit, and then nonprofits need the brain and strategy of a business. And it's just like, yeah, we all have to kind of learn and see how we can make things more efficient, and speed is one of them, of course. So I wanted to tell you something because you've never been to one of our sessions to speak, but I would love to have you. I don't know how, because I know you're super busy, but I would love to have you speak to our youth. And in the meantime,
Yeah.
oh, by the way, you are being honored as community MVP
I am
here
so
at our corporate soccer
honored.
tournament.
Yes, when I saw
Yes.
that, I was really, really honored and
Yes, I
grateful.
should have mentioned that at the beginning. So we're super excited because school board member Luisa Santos has been the best advocate in District 9. I have like the most respect for you. I truly think Homestead and Florida City and the areas around, you know, sometimes they're forgotten. Sorry, I said what I said. I said what I said. And we are really, FCC is really focused on in that specific area.
Yes.
And you've done so much. So we are honoring 5 different individuals who, in their own way, have advocated for social impact or early learning childhood investment, or access to sports, etc. So we're so happy to have you there being recognized. And I wanted to ask you, are we good with time? Yeah. Okay. Just to end.
Yes.
Okay. So if you were with a group of teenagers, like middle school, high schoolers, what would be 3 things? And this is in context of like understanding there's a mental health, was it crisis? Not crisis, but like now everyone talks about mental health, and now there's like over labeling. So now you have kids that are over diagnosing of like, no, I'm this, I'm that, and this, like, there's a lot of kids that feel kind of defeated, and they don't know how to navigate challenge as well, or they feel like I need to maybe medicate, or I'm not good enough if I don't, all these things that are coming around. And so what would you say with your story, right?
Yeah.
And your context and knowing District 9 and its challenges, if you had a group of students here, what would be your advice? 3 tips that you carry that you think that you can give to them.
Yeah. Well, I talk to students often, obviously, through my fellowship and schools, etc. And one of the things I always try to share with them is to get really comfortable with being uncomfortable. So many of us shy away from discomfort, and it is uncomfortable to try something new, to try something hard, to do something for the first time. And so as long as it's, something that's safe and productive, I always encourage students to welcome those feelings of discomfort, because that means you're growing. It means you're trying something new. And I think they could really benefit from that. Another thing I'll say is to really, it's like, Nike, please don't come after me, but just do it. I think in our world, we have so much analysis paralysis, or people who are looking at people on social media all day who are doing things. And we need to get out of the digital world and into the real world and taking action, not just talking about it, not tweeting about it, but really, okay, you see this problem, you want to, you see a challenge. What are you in the real physical world? Who are you connecting with to solve it? What are you volunteering? Where are you going to spend your time and effort? I think is really important. And another one of my, sort of personal models is nevertheless we persist. And so really looking at every challenge, every trial, every tribulation as an opportunity to become stronger, to overcome something. And that's really hard to do in the moment. But the more we wire our brain to say, okay, this is hard, this is different. It's very similar to the first one I shared. I will persist through this, that I will come out of this. And the only way to get out is through. So let me keep taking steps forward.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. School board member Luisa Santos, guys, words of wisdom. She is literally the walking example of what she just shared. One day at a time, she persisted, and look. And this is just the beginning, because in 10 years,
we'll see where we are.
I'm going to be like, School board Luisa Santos. She's going to be like, I don't know you, Danielle.
Oh, no, I'm going to be like, Danielle, I can't believe I knew you when.
Thank you so much for this space. It is a privilege and an honor to have you. So grateful to have you. You are, for me, you're like the Messi of the school board members.
Oh, wow. That's a big deal.
Scoring goals of impact. No, I'm being serious. Scoring goals for our kids. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Love having you.
You're the best. So great.
Thank you, guys.